And now, our feature presentation.
Muhammad made me what I am. What are you listening to me for then? If you don't recognize that I have greater wisdom than your teachers that taught you in high school and in college, what are you here for with your degrees? Damn it, if you don't know you're in the presence of God, I feel sorry for you. Oh, you don't even have to applaud. All you got to do is think. You never heard nothing like this in your life. I'm going to answer 98% of everything that you ask. Never saw your questions before and don't care what you write. Your professor's scared to open up the book and ask you to question him on a sentence. You ought to know that a man supreme in wisdom is among you. I'm not that one. I'm a student of him and a very tiny student. Brother, know that Allah is God. And what Elijah Muhammad is putting before the world should tell you that he met with God. And I'll give you one more proof. And I'm going to let you wrestle with this for the rest of the night. I love to blow your mind this time, last time, and next time. And some more water. Look here. Everybody all right? Okay. Listen. In physics, they have an experiment that they do with two hemispheres. I can't draw. They put these two hemispheres together. And they put these two hemispheres together and lock them in place. There's 14.7 pounds of atmospheric pressure on every square inch of our body. Therefore, there's 14 pounds of atmospheric pressure on every square inch of these hemispheres. Then they make these hemispheres a vacuum by taking out of them all the air, which means that 14.7 pounds of atmospheric pressure is pushing in on these hemispheres. Then they put a horse on this side and a horse on this side pulling. And they can't pull these hemispheres apart. Because by producing a vacuum, the pressure from the air is so strong against those hemispheres that two horses pulling in opposite directions can't pull them apart. Now he gave us an experiment with a tin can. Close the tin can. The moment he had a way of taking the air out of that tin can and making it a vacuum, the moment the air was out of that tin can, the atmospheric pressure crushed that can flat. Because the atmosphere that is above us is a tremendous weight. Now here you are. You listening, brother? I want to show you God. Say, oh, how you going to show him to him? Going around the corner. But when you get around there, you're going to meet him. Now, you got 14.7 pounds of atmospheric pressure on your body. Every square inch of it, the scientists say. You got a whole lot of weight on you, don't you? Why don't you feel that weight? Because every time you breathe in, you are pushing out with an equal force to the atmospheric force that is pushing in. Therefore, since these forces are equal, you walk and don't feel the pressure of the atmosphere. That's beautiful, isn't it? Now, that's a physical law, but it also has its spiritual counterpart. The world in which we live exerts great pressure to the minds of men. You have more insane asylums in the Western world than anywhere else on the planet, because you got more nuts, and they got so many nuts till they don't have enough insane asylum for the nuts. So the lesser nuts are on the street, and there's a whole lot of them walking around. Now here it is. What makes a man lose the balance of his mind? It is because the pressure from the world coming against his brain is such that he does not have knowledge within pushing back to equalize the pressure coming from without. Therefore the mind cracks. Come on and listen. I'm going to show you God now. No, don't applaud. Just think. Who was Socrates? He was a philosopher. Who was Aristotle? He was a philosopher. Who was Plato? He was a philosopher. Who was Nietzsche? He was a philosopher. Every philosopher that gave man an outlook on life, that outlook was designed to show man how to combat the pressures of his society and live in that society and conquer his environment. All philosophers and their philosophies have failed. Now here's this. Here's a black man in America. He's got more pressure on his brain because the atmosphere under which we live is thicker and more adverse than what any other ethnic or racial group in America live under. Would you agree? Yes. Look at the environment, the ghetto that we live in. We don't master the ghetto masters us. We don't control the stimulus in our community, the stimulus controls us. We crack up under the pressure of our community, therefore we drink. Come on, drunkard. We smoke dope. We have a whole lot of sex life. What is it? It's your escape from the pressure of the world, because you ain't got a damn thing in your head to cope with what that world is offering you. But now I want to show you God. Go ahead, brother. How do you know that God is God? Because he's able to take something that is so adverse as pressure to go to work. And I don't care where you come from, I shoot at you from every angle and beat you under your feet. You're going to come to bear witness that Elijah Muhammad is the messenger of God. Now look at it, brother. Here Muhammad gives us a teaching. The teaching adds pressure. Because the moment we get this teaching, mama turn against us, daddy turn against us, friends turn against us. When we were going along with the drunkards, the reefer smokers, we had pressure, we succumbed to it, but now we're bucking the whole thing, fighting against it now. But what we got inside is so tough. I think Jesus said it so beautifully. We're in the world, but we're not of the world. Here we are walking around naked women and won't touch them. Here we are around people that smoke and won't smoke. Around people that drink and won't drink. Why? Because we got a philosophy of life that is greater than the adverse world and its pressures. We follow the greatest philosopher of them all, God in person. And he has taught the messenger. Here's another proof. Look at the pressure coming on Muslims. We live under more pressure than you, if you don't believe. But check out how you look. Check out how we look. You know what pressure does to a man? Twist him up. Put a weight on a man's shoulder and let him try to carry it. He may look good for a minute or two, but twist him all out of shape. Look at the Muslim. Got the pressure of a whole world against him. His brows smooth. His eyes are bright. His skin lights up. He looks young though he's old.